YouTube, what is going on? My name is Sizzle. Today I will be talking about my hair transplant journey. I've had two hair transplants, both from Ziering Medical. The first one was done on March 18th, 2021, so about a year ago. The second one I just got on March 8th, 2022, which is about last week. This is a long overdue video. There's a lot of guys I've been promising this video for. I apologize for the delay. Had a lot of new developments in my life, but I want to give a quick shout out to the YouTube transplant brothers. You guys are out there. You guys are doing your thing. Good Life Joe, Coop the middle-aged millennial, millennial hair transplant. There's a lot of guys, and I'll include their video channels on my description. So definitely check out those guys, especially if you want to get good advice following a hair transplant procedure. Those guys have a lot of good content out there. Now I want to just put out a disclaimer that due to my current job, I can't post my full face. I apologize for that, but I will be as transparent as I can regarding these procedures. This video might actually be a little long, but there's a lot of important details out there, especially if you're considering a hair transplant. So I highly recommend watching the video in its entirety. You don't want to miss any of this information. All right, so without further ado, so before my hair transplant journey, I've been balding since my early 20s. I'm currently 36 years old. Balding doesn't really run in my family that I know of. My father does have a receding hairline. He does have a light frontal region like I do, frontal zone and scalp, I should say, but not as light as how I have it. Now, if you look at these pictures here, especially the picture on the right, you can see that I'd have significant thinning on my scalp and on my frontal zone region. I didn't do nothing about the balding except wear my hair low until I was about 29. When I turned 33, I decided to go on oral finasteride, which I later decided to quit, and I also went on topical minoxidol at the same time, which I'm still continuing to use. The oral finasteride I started October 2019 to July 2020. I did let my hair grow out during the COVID-19 shutdown. I did experience a lot of growth, which I'll get into very briefly, because I know basically the main point of this video is to highlight my transplant and not the before the hair transplant. So I'll go into a little bit. Yeah, so as I said before my hair transplant, I was on oral finasteride and topical minoxidol. These are some pictures of me using oral finasteride with the topical minoxidol. I was using for 6 months. This wasn't right before the hair transplant. This picture was taken August of 2020, and I got my first procedure January 2021. But in this picture, I did stop oral finasteride for a month. But I did not lose any hair at that time, because with oral finasteride, you do retain your hair. Even if you stop using it, it does take a while for you to lose the gains from the oral finasteride. So I did get a lot of hair while using oral finasteride. It did halt my hair loss as well as regrow a lot of hair, but I had way too many side effects. I had sexual side effects, low libido, specifically erectile dysfunction. I had low energy. I had balls ache, urination strain. So I really ran the gamut in terms of the negative side effects. I tried to just fight through the side effects. But you know, enough was enough, and I just decided to call it quits at 6 months. I did continue to use the topical minoxidil as I've been, you know, I felt like I got some growth, not as good as the oral finasteride, which you know targets the androgenic effect of the hair loss. Since I have androgenic alopecia, you know, obviously oral finasteride is going to work a lot better. I think a good analogy is topical minoxidil is more like kind of filling up a water, but there's a hole in the bottom of the bucket because the reason why you're balding, well, at least in most men, and in my case, is due to the androgenic alopecia, which is basically the genetic male pattern balding. So I decided to take the plunge in January 2021. It was more of a New Year's resolution to myself. I didn't seriously consider getting a transplant until then. Now, I'm not going to lie and say I've researched a bunch of clinics. Unfortunately, a lot of my research came after I got my procedure, which is unfortunately not uncommon for a lot of people. You know, people unfortunately tend to research more when after they actually get the procedure. But I knew I wanted a procedure. I wanted a place where the focus was on Afro hair, a specialization in Afro hair. What I did was I watched a lot of YouTube videos at first. I ran across a guy named Good Life Joe, who, if you guys don't know Good Life Joe, you gotta watch his channel, especially if you're considering getting a hair transplant. This brother, he puts out a lot of positive content. He's a hair transplant enthusiast. He's gotten now 3 hair transplants. But the first hair transplant he actually got was with Ziering Medical, with Dr. Ziering himself. He's phenomenal. Check out his video. But anyways, so I called Ziering back in January, and you know, when you call Ziering Medical, the first thing they do is they request basic information from you, like pictures, and they ask you when you first started balding. Then what they do after that is they schedule a virtual meeting, at least at that time, because you know this was during the height of the pandemic. They scheduled a virtual meeting, which I thought was going to be a video conference, but it's actually just a phone call with the patient coordinator. Who, you know, the patient coordinator was cool, but you know, she's pretty much a sales rep. She's gonna try to get you as many grafts because you know, with the more grafts, the more money they make, right? So you know, they're gonna try to get you with the most grafts as possible. So you know, we was going back and forth with the numbers, and she said the doctors recommended that I get 1,500 grafts, and that would cover my hairline and give me some coverage behind the hairline. What I would say about that experience that was unfortunate was because we were on our video, she couldn't see exactly what I wanted to kind of like focus on. I think she understood based on what I was telling her, but it would have been a lot easier just showing her, you know, on video, like, hey, these are the areas I want to focus on. And, you know, I thought it was a little unfortunate. I did ask her, too, if we can go on video, and she said, unfortunately, they couldn't. And, you know, that should have been a yellow flag for me. Not that I had a terrible experience with Ziering, because I did not. But, you know, I wish they would have. I think that's something that they probably could improve on their end. And maybe they have, I don't know. But anyways, back to the grafts. She recommended 1,500 grafts for the hairline. She said that if I wanted density, because I did ask her, well, what if I want the hairline and density and coverage? She said, well, if you want hairline, the hairline density and coverage on the frontal zone region. She said that it will likely be a FUT basically. Um, and FUT, if you guys are not aware, is where they transplant where they basically give you the linear scar on the back of your donor area. I wasn't gonna do the FUT because I wear my hair short. So yeah, it wasn't gonna happen. But yeah, I came across Ziering through quick Google searches. He he was, I'm in New York City. He has an office in New York City. He's done a lot of different celebrities. Dr. Ziering, that is, Tory Lanez and some others. I also did like Good Life Joe's hair transplant. I thought it was solid, especially given that he had actually less hair than I did. So if we got the same amount of grafts, you would think that I should have a better result. Mine should look better just based on more hair. You know, um, and for those saying I should have gone to Turkey, I mean, look, there's gonna be a lot of people on here saying, man, you should have gone to Turkey. I get it. I hear you. I'm not saying that you're wrong. Like I said, I want all types of feedback. I did consider Turkey, however, I was just uncomfortable with the idea of traveling overseas. My wife was very uncomfortable with the idea as well. So, I just felt more comfortable going and getting it done in the States. Now, would I do it in the future? I probably would, honestly. I probably would go to Turkey. But at the time, and with my limited research, I'm not gonna even lie to you guys, with the limited research that I've done, um, I just felt that Turkey, given given that it was really across the world, it just wasn't the right fit for me at the time. Okay, so I booked my appointment for March 18th. Um, I was scheduled to get 1,500 grafts. It was my first hair transplant procedure. We're at the day of the procedure. I ate a good breakfast in the morning. They want you there at 7:30 a.m. sharp. Ate a good breakfast. I ate scrambled eggs. I ate a cup of fruit. I'm feeling good. I'm feeling excited, but man, I'm not even gonna lie to you guys. I feel very nervous, even with a restful sleep. Okay. Now, I did take the subway to the medical office. It's actually only about 15 minutes away from me, which is clutch. Um, so when you get there, when you get to Zimmering, and I got there, remember 7:30 a.m. Um, I spoke with the patient care coordinator. Um, we spoke about more grafts, right? She was trying to get me to get more grafts, which I understand. I get it. Cool. You look, hey, I was a sales rep for a very long time, so I totally get it. She kept talking about how I could add more to my care credit. Um, I had more. I did. I wasn't about to do that just for like a hundred or a couple of hundred grafts. Probably wouldn't make that much of a difference anyways. Honestly, going from 1,500 to 1,600. But yeah, I guess in hindsight, I probably would want to get. You probably want to get the most grafts you can. Um, the first time around, I would say 2K is probably a good number for someone with around my thinning, around there, 2K, 2.5. But anyways, so we filled out paperwork. They took my blood pressure, my pulse, everything checked out good. I have no pre-existing medical conditions. I'm a fairly healthy male. I work out. Um, I don't really have anything. I really just don't have any medical conditions. Thank God. Um, so after the paperwork, you speak with the nurses. The nurses are very nice, as they're in medical. And both times I had my procedures done, the nurses went over post-op hair care. She gave me a hair care package, which I will show you guys in the upcoming slide. She spoke about how to take care of my grafts, what to do and what not to do. It's a whole, you get you get a post-op instruction sheet basically, and you want to follow that. You want to make sure you do, do everything you're being told to do. You don't want to mess up those grafts. Okay, so after I spoke with the nurses, I spoke to Dr. Calder. Now he was my hair transplant surgeon. He basically created the slits on my recipient areas, which slits are like basically little holes where the grafts will be implanted to. He drew the hairline, which the hairline was it was actually pretty good, which is amazing. In one shot, he was actually draw a pretty nice hairline. It was straight. It was appropriate for a person, a black person. So it was cool. I liked the hairline. I was digging it. He didn't touch the temples, but he did point out my temple on the right side was a little weaker. It was uneven compared to the left side, which I already knew. My barber actually does a good job of just straightening out everything, making everything look even. But just to give y'all a little preview, I do work on my temples in the second procedure. Okay. So after Dr. Calder drew my hairline, I met with another doctor, not Dr. Calder. I actually forgot her name, but she does work at Ziering Medical. She was nice. She was nice. All right. So she set me up. Okay. I told her that I get really nervous with needles, but the thing is that after I told her that, she showed me the needle, and I was like, oh man, I was tripping. I was tripping. I was basically in my head about it, and I'm not even gonna lie to you guys, and you guys need to listen to this, all right? Because you guys might get freaked out and be like, oh snap, but I passed out. Yes, I passed out right before, I think right after the first administration, but I passed out due to anxiety. It had nothing to do with the direct reaction of the needle or the lidocaine that was in the needle, but I passed out, right? So let me just walk y'all through it. I'm sitting up on the operating table. She is administering the shots on the back of my head. I think after the second shot, I think I saw the needle and I passed out. I fell off the operating table. I hit my head on the cabinet knob. I laid unconscious for about 20 seconds, they told me. I didn't know how bad, I didn't know what happened, if I just hit my head, but I was okay. I knew I wasn't suffering from a concussion or anything like that, which is it's a little unique because, you probably, the lidocaine is also numbing me at the same time. So I probably, the lidocaine probably helped me from, really feeling the effects of that fall. But, I'm laid out. I'm in front of, I'm on the side of the operating table laid out, and a bunch of nurses and both Dr. Calder and the other doctor, like, are you okay? They pretty much put me in concussion protocol. If y'all watch football, y'all know what I mean. They were asking me questions, and, I answered the questions, passed with flying colors. I didn't have a concussion, not even a slight concussion. I was just worried that, damn, I hope I didn't mess anything up. And I didn't know how bad it was, to be honest with y'all. But I mean, all things considered, it wasn't great, but I mean, it wasn't that bad, okay? And yeah, I mean, look, that's one of the worst things that could happen, I guess. But this is part of the reason. I think this is the most important part of this video, because I want to show y'all, look, these things can happen. These things also can be prevented. And I'll give y'all some tips later on in this video how we can prevent that, because just to give y'all a little preview, I did get a second procedure and it was smooth. I actually didn't even, I wasn't even nervous about the needles. The needles weren't even, I didn't even feel pain the second time. But that was a different doctor, and maybe that was part of the reason why I felt pretty good about it. But yeah, it is what it is. I want to show y'all the effects. Oh, I should have put this on a previous slide, but this is the hair care package that they give y'all. So they give you guys a follicle graft enhancement. Basically, it's a spray that you apply to your grafts. You want to do it a couple of times, 2 to 3 times an hour. You have a day spray as well as a night spray. They give you prednisone, which is an anti-swelling medication, because when the lidocaine starts to come down in a few days, you will start to swell. Your head will start to swell, and it's almost inevitable. But actually, after my second procedure, I actually did not get a swelling. But after the first one, I did. I swole up I looked like Goonies. Okay, the Goonies monster. That's what I looked like. I look really. I mean, I think most people do swell up, even with the prednisone. But it was crazy because after the second procedure, I didn't swell up. But the first procedure, yes. Yeah, they also give you an anti-infection pill that you take. I didn't have any infections, thankfully. They give you antibacterial ointment that you want to apply to your donor area where the grafts were taken out. I think you do that. I believe it's twice a day. At least once a day for sure. However, I had, and you guys will see later on in the video that my donor was probably the best thing about this whole process. I mean, it healed up quick. It looks good. Yeah. Yeah. So this is it, man. This is where we at, day 1 of the first hair transplant. So how I'm feeling? Okay. When I actually didn't know, I didn't know how bad this scar was until they showed me way after. I think they could have showed me that a little earlier. They did show me. I'm not trying to kind of hold them accountable or anything I'm not trying to blame nobody. I'm just saying, yeah, I didn't know it was this big. I mean, either way, it wouldn't have mattered because I wouldn't want to continue with the procedure. I'm glad that they continued with the procedure. And by the way, I just want to make sure that I mentioned that Dr. Calder was he was a complete professional throughout the whole time. I mean, he's a great doctor. I'm not taking anything away from him. As a matter of fact, he took the Uber with me. He took the Uber with me straight to my home. Very caring. He gave me his personal number. He checked in with me. He's a very nice doctor. I think he's pretty good as well. But yeah, this is where we're at in terms of the first day of procedure. Now, based on what this looks like here, I felt like, wow, the coverage. I thought the coverage was looking pretty good. Okay, now compared to what I had before the hair transplant, I felt like I wasn't completely bald. So I'm like, okay, this should look decent in terms of coverage, right? Because look, I'm not gonna get braids, I'm not gonna get dreads or anything like that. But okay, maybe I could get my waves back. Because man, that's really what I if I could get my waves back. Woo. Anyways, but yeah. Now the scar, right? Let's address the elephant. So the scar, everything looked good except the scar, right? Because the scar is a scar, right? But he did say that he transplanted a lot of hairs, grafts around the scar, which I was a little worried that, okay, well, you could overcompensate for that area by planting way too much than what you need, right? So it did concern me. But I had to live with it, right? It already happened. You can't go back, So the only thing I can do is just be positive and just do what I can. Um, but the doctor did mention, well, let me just say also that I was also concerned. There was a little bit of space, and I felt like there was some grafts on top of existing hairs, because I was, like I said, I wasn't completely bald, and y'all can see that with the first slide. Like I wasn't completely bald. I was balding, but I wasn't completely bald. I felt like, my hair pattern was what it is, and yeah, I still thought that this was going to be a good result, uh, but I'm concerned with the scar. All right, let's go to the next slide. Okay, so now I'm showing you guys a close up of the scar, and I apologize. Just I do realize that the image is probably not the clearest, but I wanted to show you guys the close up, and you can see that there's sutures. Now, the doctor, I want to emphasize, the doctor said he would honor a free hair transplant to cover the scar. So it's not he wasn't going to give me a full address transplant, but he was going to give me enough to cover the scar. Which, I mean, I don't even know if that's a good deal, because like you might as well just get a full transplant. But I felt like if I needed a hair transplant and a second one, that he should, we should be able to um, get a good deal or something, right? Um, but yeah, this is the close up. It was sutured on the day of the surgery. It was removed the following day during the hair wash, where they show you. So I came in the following day for a hair wash. They show you. So the first thing they do is they sit you under the laser, which I'm a little skeptical about if the laser actually does anything, especially if you're only using it just that one time. But after they sit you down under the laser for 20 minutes, they then oh, and I should mention, by the way, I didn't get any PRP, which I would have if it wasn't. It, you know, I would. I think the PRP helps the procedure. I think it helps with the healing effects. That's just me. That's based on my research. Y'all could take, of course, what I'm saying with a grain of salt, but anyways, yeah. So they show you how to wash. So after you're under the laser, they show you how to wash your hair. You're gonna basically pour the shampoo in a cup. You're gonna mix it with warm water, and you're gonna pour it over your head until there's no more soap left. On your transplanted area, and as well as all over your head. So not only your transplanted area. So they show you how to do that. They took off the sutures. I hope I'm saying it right, by the way. Um, I'm not in the medical field, so I apologize if some of the medical terms I don't pronounce it correctly, but I do. I feel like I do my due diligence in trying to explain it. But anyways, yeah, that's the scar right there. This is just a face view. I think this is day 3, day 4. I'm swollen at this point. My head. I think this is day 3, as a matter of fact. And I like the hairline, especially when my temples start to grow in. I like, at this point, I'm like, okay, the hairline gonna come in nice. They tell you that you have to sleep at a 45-degree angle at least like 4 or 5 days at least. So you have to sleep with your head up. They give you a travel pillow where you can kind of like lean back, but it's very uncomfortable. And you're gonna want to lay your head back, but you can't. Now, if you lay your head back, and I think what happened with me is I laid my head back on like day 3. What happens is the next day you're gonna wake up swollen. I mean, my whole head was swollen when that happened. So just something to watch out for. All right, but yeah, this is the face view. Let's move on. Yeah, my donor area the second day. The donor area healed super quick. They did a good job in terms of extracting the hairs. They did an excellent job, I thought. I would say like with this procedure, the best thing they did, drawing the hairline and extracting the grafts, I thought they blew it, hit it out the park. I, at this point, I've been applying the antibacterial cream that they give you, um, and my donor healed up in like a week. So, um, let's move on. Okay, so this is 8 days post-op of the first hair transplant, right? So I'm scabbed up, and honestly, it's like it's looking decent, scabbed up. I'm like, okay, I'm like, cool, cool, cool. Like this is looking good. I'm getting excited because if those scabs like turn out to be, if those scabs equal to the hairs, I'm like, all right, like this is exactly how I want my this is exactly what I wanted, right? But I mean that doesn't turn out to be the case, all right? Just to give y'all a little preview, it doesn't turn out to be like that. But I mean, it's still looking, the scab's looking good. Hairline looks good. And like I said, I thought the hairline was too low, but man, it was just right. Very natural looking. So yeah, that's 8 days, and I'm doing everything they tell me to do at this point. At this point, I should also mention that I ordered H scar ointment, which later on it actually helped out a lot. I applied it every night on the scar, on the skin region of, or I should say the forehead region. So I didn't apply it on the actual head, but it helped out a lot with the healing of the scar. So yeah, this is a donor. I mean, shit, this is almost fully recovered at 9 days post-op. Now, at 2 weeks, I do get burn and itch at 2 weeks afterwards, and a dull ache on and off for 2 months. And it would happen, the dull ache would happen like I would say about twice a week. Now, what I did for my donor was I started using aloe vera around 2 weeks, and I think aloe vera was like the best thing. I got that tip from, I think it was Zay from Zay's hair transplant journey. I'll post this video in my description, but or his channel rather in my description. But yeah, I think I got the tip from him. And my donor was amazing throughout this whole process. So shout outs to my donor. Yeah, so my scabs came off naturally. I was in the shower. This was day 10. I was in the shower. Um, and I think because of the heat, um, it was just like when I finished with the shower, it was just peeling off. It kind of reminds me of if you would like get a tan or you get like from being out in the sun, where your skin dries. That's what it feels like. It feels like a kind of like a sticky like a sticky peel. Uh, that's coming off. That's what taking off the scab. I didn't use any knife. I didn't use a knife. I know some people use like a butter knife or something like that. It just came off naturally, like with my fingers. It was just coming off. When it came off, it actually looked good. It wasn't. It was. I liked the. I was like, wow, the coverage looks pretty good. The hairline looks, especially when it's low like this, matching the existing hair. I thought everything was looking good. I was like, okay. I was getting excited. I'm thinking this is about to be a successful transplant, even with that scar. There was a little bit of peel, if you can see from the around the scar, um, but that eventually came off as well. I think the following day. Yeah, so this is 32 days post-op for my first hair transplant. I'm heading into the ugly duckling phase. What can I tell y'all? Um, uh, Pretty much all the transplanted hair is gone, completely gone. The Also another thing to point out, my native hair was also, a lot of it was also gone. If you can like look at this picture and look at the size of when, like right before I got my transplant, you can see that um, yeah, I mean I lost a lot of native hair, but that's due to shock loss. which is usually temporary, and you gain it back after 6 months, 6 to 7 months after your procedure. So, don't freak out. It's pretty much it's natural. Now that I have done a little bit of research on how to prevent shock loss. People say taking finasteride will help prevent shock loss, or doing a PRP shot, but there aren't studies really that back it up. I did take topical finasteride right before my second procedures, hoping I can build up enough that it will help kind of prevent this the shock loss here. Also, the scalp is thinning, but it's the thing with my hair is my hair grows uneven, right? Like the sides grow a lot darker than the scalp, so the scalp is just growing like really slow, and it always has. This is my hair has always been like that. Um, you gotta wait for the scalp to catch up. Um, yeah. So as far as a routine at this point, I'm just using the topical minoxidil. Um, that because remember I stopped oral finasteride back in 2020, um, and I'm also using daily biotin in a gummy form, 5,000 is it mcg, I believe it is. Um, that's what I'm using daily. Hope I don't know. I'm a little skeptical if it has any effects at all, but that's what I've been using, and I really don't know if the biotin work honestly, but yeah, let's move on. All right, so this is 48 days, not too much different from 32 days post-op, but I would say this is full-fledged duckling stage. My scalp is actually getting a little darker. I think I trimmed the sides a little down, so my scalp is getting a little the density of my scalp is actually getting a lot closer to the density of the rest of the existing hair. You can also see in my frontal zone that I have, there is a hair, but that's not from the transplant. Just to let y'all know, I always have hair right there, and that how can I show y'all? Right? I don't know if I can show you. I think y'all see what I mean. I have some hair in the front. I've always had hair. That's actually, I think where it stops is around when my hair transplant, where the hairline starts actually, or actually when my when my hairline used to be. So it's a pretty big. My hairline was receding, as well as as well as I was balding in the front, especially in the frontal zone. Yeah, I mean, you're gonna be ugly for a couple of months, man. No, I'm not even gonna lie to y'all. You gotta you gotta go through it. I'm not gonna said it best. It's not for the faint-hearted. I also started taking castor oil at this time, which I later stopped, but because it was just too thick for my hair. But yeah, let's move on. Yeah, so this is 3 months and 3 days post-op. I'm finishing up the ugly duckling stage. At least I hope at this point. I'm not experiencing a lot of growth at this moment. But I am getting little sprouts. If you could zoom in a little closer, you can see little sprouts around the hairline. Now, for you guys know, it takes 4 months for that growth to start kicking in. So, I was excited for the growth to come. I was a little nervous with the scar and everything, just to see, just curious to see how things will shape out. My scalp is looking good. It's, like I said, it grows thinner than the sides naturally. Uh, but I do some things later on to work on the scalp, especially. I'll get into that later on, but the biggest thing is topical minoxidil. I do the derma rolling once every 7 to 10 days, which Dr. Ziering actually didn't recommend that I do that. They say it ruins the hair shafts, but I didn't. I don't. There's actually more studies that suggest that and I could post those studies too if you guys want to hit me up. I could. Um, I'll post to you guys I'll show you guys the studies I'm referring to, but like, yeah, he didn't recommend it because I spoke to him later on. And he said, no, it's not good for the hair shafts. That was his reasoning. But like I said, more studies that suggest it does more good than harm. In fact, it doesn't really do any harm. Unless of course, that's with the caveat that, you do it incorrectly or you go too deep. You got to use the right needle length. And I could talk about that in a separate video. Or if you guys want to hit me up and you guys want to chat with me, y'all can. Yeah, so this is 5 months post-op. So I am getting more growth. But, honestly, I was a little worried, mainly because there is no hair around the scar, if y'all can see. There's nothing around the scar, and it's pretty thick. I could have showed y'all a better photo, but there's no hair there. I would say between months 4 and month 5, I did experience a decent amount of growth, but still a lot of slight spots, especially right above the hairline corners on the left and right sides. I also have a lot of thinning in the I also did get, still have the shock loss from the native hairs, I feel like. Hold on 1 second. All right, sorry about the pause, y'all. But yeah, so this is, like I said, 5 months post first hair transplant. I did get growth between the months 4 and months 5. However, still a lot of light spots, and I was worried about the light spots, especially above the hairline. But I was reading that the hairline usually comes in first anyways, and then like anything before comes in later. So I'm excited because I'm like, okay, cool. It's 5 months, but I should be getting more better results as I progress, of course. But I do text the Dr. Calder, at this point. I text him because there is no hair around the scar, and I did remember that he had mentioned, if there's no hair around the scar, he said he wanted to check back in with me 5 to 6 months, and we'll see what to do. He said he'll cover the scar for free. He told me cover the scar for free on the day of the procedure. I believe he would have honored that. So, I just texted him just to show him my progress. He said that when I texted him, he said that, it looks like, by the way, he got back to me right away. He said that it looks like there's growth coming in, basically, telling me to be patient. I did tell him about that there's no hair on the scar, and he said that, he would honor a free hair transplant just to cover the scar. So not a full, I just want to make it very clear, not a full second hair transplant, but enough to cover the scar. Which, I don't know, like, who would just get a transplant to just cover an area with 50 grafts? I'm not really sure. But all in all, I'm feeling okay. I'm not like super happy about it, but like I am getting more growth in. So yeah, this is where I'm at as far as my routine. I included topical finasteride. I decided to give it a shot. So topical finasteride, I ordered from him. It's actually a topical fin and min mix, so topical finasteride minoxidol mix. I applied it daily, or every night, I should say, just to get some growth going. During the day, I applied jojoba or jojoba oil mixed with essential peppermint oil, and I started dermarolling the scalp, which, like I said, I think dermarolling actually works. I think at least it works for me. Yeah, let's go to the next slide. Yeah, so this is 6 months. At 6 months, it's slightly more growth compared to month 5, slightly more growth. But okay, and look, the hairline is definitely getting a lot thicker, a lot darker. I mean, that's apparent. But behind the hairline, there's a lot of trouble areas, a lot. Okay, and at this point, I'm not very happy. Um, I do drop the castor oil, which I told you guys. I think I dropped it around this time. I, as far as the routine goes, I still continue to use the topical finasteride, minoxidil. I had no sides from the topical finasteride, so decided to give it a shot anyways. And I'm using the jojoba oil at night with peppermint, um, and sleeping with a do-rag on. The scalp is actually looking good, but the front, where I had the pretty much the recipient area of the transplant, I don't like it at this point. I felt like it could have been a lot better. But at the same time, it's 1,500 grafts. Like, you're not gonna get full coverage with 1,500 grafts, and I think in retrospect, I didn't really realize that, and that's on me. That's not on anybody else. But yeah, that's where we at. 6 months. My donor, man, my donor looking good though. Donor looking untouched, no itching, no burning. It feels like I didn't even have a hair transplant. Man, I'm just feeling like, damn, I wish my whole head looked like my donor. But that's mathematically impossible, okay? Because you're not gonna get the same amount of grafts extracted from your donor to your recipient. Like it has to, you got to do enough for it to work out. But yeah, the donor's looking good, man. Donor's looking good. Um, yeah, left side of the donor, still looking good. Got the waves. Is you can tell that if I can do maybe like 2 more procedures, I probably got. Oh, and that's another thing too. I'm glad I brought that up. Dr. Calder did mention to me that I had a lot of grafts that I could, like I had a lot of, I have an excellent donor, and that's what he said. He said my donor is excellent. Um, which kind of made me think like, damn. Now, what if I would have gone to Turkey, probably would have had like probably less of a chance to get one of those botched heads, that I be seeing, unfortunately. I mean, I shouldn't say botched heads, because man, their transplants look better than mine. Even with the light, like even with the light donors, like their transplants look good, and they with the way they wear their heads, you can't even tell. So it's not even a knock on folks that go to Turkey. Matter of fact, the folks that go to Turkey are like my favorite YouTubers. They are, and I have a lot of respect for them, for what they do. But yeah, this is where I'm at. So let's go to the next slide. Yeah, so this is 8 months post-op. This is with fibers, okay? I have topic hair fibers on. This is after a haircut. With the fibers, it doesn't look bad. But let me tell you something. When you got topic fibers on, and another thing is I have waves, but I have waves on my existing hair, not the front. Man, if I could get like I said, if I could get waves on my front, man, that's the dream for real. But anyways, so with the fibers, I want these brothers to pay attention. So, in different lighting, you can kind of tell sometimes because it's like a grayish look. It could be a bit unnatural, especially if you're sweating. And if you have some oils on, it could look a little unnatural in different lighting. Especially in like that white light. You can kind of you can kind of tell sometimes someone, I mean, I can tell, but of course I don't think the average person can tell. But I was considering hair illusions as opposed to topic, and I can kind of talk about that more in depth I think hair illusions is better to cover the density. Topic is better to cover the hairline. And like I said, I can talk about that. If you guys want to comment and want to have a conversation about that, feel free to comment, and we could talk about that in depth. But I think it is a lot more of a natural look. But yeah, this is where I'm at, 8 months post-op with the fibers. Yeah, this is me, man. This is with the fibers on, no lighting, but I mean it looks good when you get the fade, man. When you get the haircut, it looks good, So it's not terrible, right? It's not terrible with the fibers, but man, putting on them fibers, man. Woo! It's like you gotta wake up extra early, like because you gotta do it right. So so yeah, that's where I'm at with the fibers. I'm gonna show y'all the next slide because we're gonna see what it looks like with no fibers. So yeah, this is where I'm at with no fibers. So it's more. Look, I got growth right between month 6 and month 8, but I'm not happy. I'm just not happy. Um, don't get me wrong, I was getting growth, but it was apparent there was gonna be a lot of light spots. Like there was gonna be lack of coverage. Um, and I don't want to budge by rocking a shorter Caesar or a shorter fade. I like a real dark Caesar, like with my grain of hair. That's how I like it. I mean, that's just me. You do what you want. Like I think Good Life Joe says this best. Live your piece, right? And this is not my piece though. It's not what this is. I felt like this is not what I paid money for. Especially with the scar. So I'm getting a little restless at this point, but I'm trying to stay positive. And the one positive, other than the donor, which is fantastic, is that the hair around the scar is actually covered up a little bit with, like, I guess because of the existing hairs around it. It's covering up pretty good. So major development, y'all. So pay attention to this. So like I said, I'm upset. I emailed the clinic November 2021, okay? And I asked for a graft count because I wanted to know exactly, like, everything about my procedure, man. I was a little obsessed about it. I wanted to know everything about it. So I wanted all documentation because I've been working hard to try to, like, preserve my hair and, like, following all the instructions, and I just felt like it could have been a little bit better at this point. So I initially asked for a graft count. I reached out by emailing, and at this point, I was thinking about a second one, getting the second one done. I wasn't thinking about getting the second one done with Ziering. I just, I felt like I could just go somewhere else. But a guy named Jeremy, man, had reached out to me, and Jeremy, I mean, man, he's fantastic. He's a tremendous asset to Ziering Medical. And by the way, I'm not getting paid by Ziering for none of this. Just a disclaimer, like Ziering, this is just my review. Ziering didn't ask me to do this. I'm doing this because I want to help other people out. But yeah, Jeremy from Ziering, he reached out to me, and he was like, "Hey, what's going on? Like, how just want to check in." Like, first he gave me all the documentation I'd asked for, and I actually found out I got 1,598 grafts, so it's more than 1,500. And I tell him, like, look, I told him I wasn't excited. I wasn't. I think he could tell I wasn't happy about the procedure. I sent him pictures, and he actually he agreed with me. He really wanted to work something out. He wanted it to, like, make me happy. Like, I'm grateful for Jeremy. So he actually ends up reaching out to. He reaches out to Dr. Ziering himself. And by the way, I should have mentioned this before, but Dr. Ziering was booked for months, and I think I did mention that before. So there's no way I could have gotten my first transplant with him. Um, but anyways, yes. Well, I mean, unless I wanted to wait. But yeah, Dr. Ziering, or rather Jeremy, reached out to Dr. Ziering. Um, you know, he was like, oh yeah, I reached out to him and he showed Dr. Ziering my pictures. Um, Dr. Ziering then had a in-person consultation with me in January of 2022. I came into the office and I told him like these are my trouble, like this is where I'm at, and but I'm not feeling it. And we kind of talked about getting a second procedure done. And Jeremy worked it out with Dr. Ziering so that we scheduled a second procedure March 8th. And he told we worked it out in terms of the money. Um, by the way, the first procedure, you look, this is Ziering Medical. Like you're not gonna pay turkey prices. You're gonna pay premium American prices. So think of north of 10K. I mean, and if y'all want to get specifics, man, I'm not gonna put them out there like that. So just hit me up, and I'll answer all your questions. You guys can call me. I'll do a consultation. It's all good. Give me a call, and I'll tell you. But yeah, we worked it out for the second procedure. It wasn't free, okay? So the second procedure was not free. However, I was satisfied with the amount that I had to pay. I thought it was fair. Given what happened during my first procedure, especially with the scar and everything. I thought it was just. However, the second procedure was not going to be done by Dr. Ziering himself, which I was a little disappointed with because I initially had thought it would have been done with him. Um, it was actually going to be scheduled with Dr. Foucher, who I didn't know much about, other than I think he's relatively new to the Ziering Medical Office, although he's worked with Dr. Ziering for a long time in the past. And I think they've known each other. Yeah, I mean, and his resume is like he has a great resume. Like a very smart guy, very skillful. He has it all. He's done Afro hairs in the past. A lot of great results. So I was cool with Dr. Fauci. Honestly, I was cool with it. And look, I was fine with the hair. Like, I just needed that density. I just needed a little bit of density in the front just to make me happy. But yeah, that crazy. Yeah, so yeah, this is 11 months post first hair transplant. This is the last photo before my second procedure. Um, and yeah, I think this is like a 4 or 5 days after, maybe like a week after my haircut. So I should really show a picture of how I look with the haircut, like with no fibers. It doesn't look bad, but like there's some spots. My barber even thinks that it looks pretty good. My barber thinks that the first hair transplant, he was like, wow, they did a good job with the hairline. I think that's pretty evident that the hairline looked, like Dr. Calder, man. He drew it one shot and got it. Like he got it, and like, and I mean, man, for non-brothers to to draw a hairline on a brother like that, that was pretty cool. But yeah, this is my, this is where I'm at basically. This is close to a year. I mean, there was no difference between this and 12 months. This is it. This was the result. Maybe like what, like 2% more growth over the next like few months, because you can't get more growth. But nah, this is pretty much where I'm at. And I apologize, the photo's not great. Yeah, so the supplements that I'm currently taking, I had to stop topical Fin and Min right before the second procedure. Um, uh, And I don't know if I'm gonna use topical fin. I actually did get a little bit of side effects from the topical finasteride. Yeah, we could talk about that. Hit me up, and I could discuss that in detail. But yeah, it was similar to it was basically like less energy, some sexual side effects. I mean, it could be other things. Maybe it was, maybe it wasn't the topical finasteride, but um, I may stop it altogether. And I started using so I continued the jojoba oil with the peppermint oil, collagen. I should have mentioned to you guys. I did start using collagen in September, so around my 6 months post first hair transplant, I started using collagen. I got that tip from Good Life Joe. I think the collagen is actually good stuff. I feel, it's good for your skin, good for your hair. It's good for healing. Like, it has good healing properties. Although I feel like I heal pretty well. Um, the biotin, the jury's still out on whether the biotin actually works. There's studies that suggest biotin doesn't really do anything because the average, especially the average North American, has enough biotin in their system. Like, biotin only works, in other words, if you're deficient from it. And I have studies to show that. So if y'all want, like I said, I don't. A lot of what I say is based on the studies that I've read. So if y'all want to, I could show you the peer reviewed study if y'all hit me up. I do take a multivitamin, especially when I go to the gym. Um, that's all I could think of. Oh, damn! I should have mentioned. I take Nizoral. It's basically there's some studies so Nizoral is a shampoo. It's an antifungal shampoo, but it has some anti-DHT, dihydrotestosterone, which is basically the reason why you have the androgenic alopecia, the male pattern baldness. It has some anti-DHT properties. Um, Unfortunately, it's not really known how it works, but it does work, and there are studies that suggest that it does work. I do I'm gonna continue the Dermarol as well. The Dermarol, I feel like Dermarolin and Nizoral, and if you could do finasteride, I mean, I can't, but a lot of people can. I mean, I just can't. I mean, finasteride is not for your boy. You know what I'm saying? Like, I just wasn't made to withstand finasteride. Like, I love, DHT is, and look, honestly, DHT, hey, there's studies that suggest that it's good for you. Like, it's, it had, like, there's studies out there. Like, some people, there's a debate on whether DHT is actually a hormone that's necessary, or that can you completely block it. But man, I ain't messing with my DHT anymore. Honestly, like, I ain't messing with that. Like, I'm gonna let DHT do whatever it does because I feel good with DHT. Maybe my body's sensitive to it. I don't know. Yeah. So okay. So I think this is the last slide. Yeah, I got my second hair transplant March 8th. No, this is not the last slide. I have a few more. I'm sorry. I told you that this is gonna be a long video. I got my second hair transplant March 8th, 2022. I got it with Ziering Medical. This time it was with Dr. Foucher. It was 1,500 grafts at the minimum. So, yeah, at the minimum. So I should have gotten around 1,500, a little bit more than 1,500 grafts. When I had the consultation with Dr. Foucher, he told me that he was going to reinforce the hairline. We were gonna get some temples in, which is great because my temples were getting real weak. And we were gonna do a little, we were gonna work on the density, which is my main concern. Um, Man, let me tell you, it was a great experience. It was a 10. So I'll walk y'all through it. I wake up. So I wake up. I have a great breakfast. similar to the first breakfast. But this time I have a breakfast with I made a smoothie, mango. I put honeydew, mango, blueberries, coconut water. It was just to keep my blood sugar up, just in case I start to get nervous. But at this point, I knew what to expect, so I wasn't as nervous about the needles. It was like I said, it's a mental thing, right? When I got there early, even before the staff got there. I was there like 7:15, and the staff, one of the staff, Cece, who's by the way, she's awesome. She's a nurse or assistant. I apologize if I don't have the correct position, but man, she's great. She was very warm to me. Like she basically answered all my questions. I felt very comfortable. Some people just they just know how to make people feel comfortable. I had the right team, and which is odd because, and it's not to disparage the first team for my first hair transplant. Which, by the way, I noticed that I didn't notice anybody from my first hair transplant there. Other than the patient care coordinator. But I thought that was I guess people move around and stuff, but yeah, Cece was awesome. Cece and Ashley, they were helping out with my graft. They were nurses that were basically helping implanting the grafts. They made me feel really good. They really took care of me. They did. I thank them for that. You could tell that they're just good at what they do, honestly. But yeah, so yeah, different staff. It was cool. I got there 7:30 after a good breakfast. I was nervous. I met with Dr. Foucher. I didn't fill out too many forms. We got into it. I met with Dr. Foucher. He had already drawn my hairline, but we drew it again. Dr. Foucher's he's known to be excellent with hairlines. He's like the hairline master. And it's true. He wanted to reinforce the hairline because when people see you straight up, they see you. They see your hairline and what's right above your hairline first, right? So he wanted to reinforce the hairline, and we wanted to cover, kind of work our way back from front to back. So he wanted to make sure that I covered. I wanted at least good enough density for my front. Because if you get 2 hair transplants in the front and the density's still not good, it's not. I don't think it's gonna make me happy. So yeah, Dr. Foucher, man, he drew the hairline. He made me feel super comfortable. We were joking, we were talking about our backgrounds. He gave me the lidocaine shots, and I'll be honest with you, from 1 to 10, 10 being the most painful, man, it was about a 2. That's how I was in my own head the first time, because I did not feel pain. And the whole procedure was, for me, it wasn't even that much pain. Not even gonna lie to y'all. I felt comfortable. It was smooth. Everything was smooth. The only thing I would say is, when I first saw my, let's go to the next slide. There's a good segue. I hope y'all can see it here. I probably have the photo position a little different, but yeah, when I got my second hair transplant. So this is day one. This is day one post-op. In other words, the following day of my second procedure. Yeah, so the only thing I would say is that I still wish I had more density in the front. But look, man, I'm just gonna hope that this looks good. I got my fingers crossed. I'm just hoping. I'm hoping that this is a good result. I felt good though. I feel good about this one. Not that I didn't feel good about the last one, but so the differences between Dr. Calder and Dr. Foucher. So I noticed that he kind of packed the grafts a little bit. Like he kind of focused on where I had no hair in the frontal zone. Um, so what he I should have mentioned this before, but they shaved my sides off first, and they didn't shave the top, so they can see where I'm lacking because I'm not fully bald, right, on the front. So he like focused on like where I didn't have hair, right, that's how it should have done. With Dr. Calder, like with that first procedure, they shaved my whole head and then just started planting grafts. And I think that when they did that, they I mean, this is just, maybe I'm wrong about this, but I think that they were, it might have made them put grafts on top of existing hair. Um, so, the way they did it this time was they shaved the sides first, called it, I'm sorry, Dr. Fauci, he made the slits, and then they shaved my head off. So they already knew where the grafts were gonna go, right? Because you want it to work in harmony with your existing hair, right? That's how this thing should work. So yeah, I feel good. I felt the grafts were a little tight. Like there was less spacing compared to the first procedure. Like the grafts were kind of like sprinkled through my head. And this one was like tightly condensed. I'm curious to know like an exact graft count. Maybe I'll reach out to them. But I mean, it should be at least 1,500. But I'll double check with them. Yeah, so this is day 3. Yeah, I mean, look, it's scabbing up pretty good, and like you can see, like it, you can tell it kind of focuses on the troubled areas of the front, and that's what I wanted, right? Like that's all I wanted was focus on my troubled areas. Um, yeah, like that's where we're at. Um, the donut's still looking good. I should have put a picture up, but I will put a picture up eventually. But the donut's still looking good. Yeah, so the next video, so the way I'm gonna do this, y'all, is I'm gonna document 1 to 3 months, then I'm gonna go 3 to 6 months, okay? Um, y'all can always hit me up, like I said, if y'all have any questions, if y'all want to talk more about um, anything, whether it's the topical finasteride, the oral finasteride, dermarolin, DHT. Um, there's a lot of topics that were encompassed, I would say, in this video. But I wanted to focus on the hair transplant. And this video, look, I told y'all it was going to be long. It's a long ass video, and I'm sorry, but I hope I gave y'all a lot of good information. I know I was a little bit repetitive, but it is what it is. Man, I hope that this is a success. And I thank y'all for watching. Please like, comment, and sub. It helps the algorithm because I'm not trying to profit off this video. I'm just trying to like help other people out. Like literally, like that's my only incentive is to help people who are looking to get a hair transplant. I feel like this video can help a lot of people. So like take me there, take me to a place where like this video can reach a lot of different people who are looking for a hair transplant, and not just with Ziering, but with anybody, right? Um, yeah, so feel free to leave a comment as well. And like I said, it could be it's cool if it's negative, positive. It doesn't matter. Like if y'all want to give me feedback, if y'all want to just tell me I should have gone to Turkey, I know I'm gonna get a bunch of those. That's cool. I get it. I totally understand. I appreciate it. As a matter of fact, I appreciate all those comments. All right. All right. Have a blessed day. All right. Thank y'all for watching this video. I really appreciate it.